Most people don't have a spending problem. They have a leaking problem. The big purchases are visible. The subscriptions, the fees, the small automatic charges, those are quiet. You don't feel them leave. That's exactly why they stay. A $14 streaming service you haven't opened since March is still billing you next Tuesday. A gym membership you joined in January is still active because canceling takes a quick call. Neither of these feels like a crisis. That's the point. Small money leaks don't feel urgent enough to fix, so they don't get fixed. And while one $12 charge doesn't wreck anything, 20 of them start to look like a real number. $240 a month is $2,880 a year. That's not nothing. That's a car repair covered. That's a month of groceries. That's an emergency fund started. The accumulation is, most people scanning their bank app will recognize a charge and say, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." Then they close the app and forget again. The charge runs the next month anyway. This is how money leaks survive, not through force, but through friction avoidance. Canceling requires action. Doing nothing is the default. Every subscription company on earth knows that. Their retention model depends on your inertia. One of the quieter leaks is minimum payment logic on a credit card balance. You owe $1,400. The minimum is $35. You pay $35 and feel like you handled it. What you actually did was extend that balance by months and add interest you didn't budget for. At a typical APR, that $1,400 could cost you closer to $1,700 or more before it's gone. The minimum payment wasn't a solution. It was a postponement dressed up as progress. Overdraft fees are another one. One transaction triggers a $34 fee in a lot of cases. If that happens twice in a month, you've paid $68 for the privilege of briefly going negative. That's not bad luck. That's a gap in cash flow timing that no one ever sat down to fix. Another leak that rarely gets named: convenience fees. Paying a bill through a third-party portal that charges $2.50 to process. Every single month. That's $30 a year to pay a bill you were going to pay anyway. Nobody sits down and decides to buy that. It just happens by default. Delivery apps are a well-known one, but the math still surprises people when they actually run it. A $14 meal becomes $22 after fees, service charges, and tip. You do that twice a week. That's roughly $230 a month on food that probably cost $112 at the restaurant. The gap between what you think you're spending and what you're actually spending is where leaks live. Same with variable subscriptions, the ones with a free tier that quietly upgraded you. You signed up for a trial, the trial ended, the charge started, you didn't notice for 4 months. By the time you caught it, you'd paid $47.96 for something you weren't actively using. A lot of leaks don't come from overspending on things you love. They come from forgetting. Forgetting the renewal date. Forgetting the trial ended. Forgetting you added that feature last year. Late payment fees are deceptively expensive. Miss a due date by 1 day on a utility. Some providers charge $10 to $25 for that. It's not about the amount, it's about the pattern. If it happens 3 times a year across 2 or 3 accounts, you've lost $60 to $75 quietly. Cable and internet bundles are another category worth a second look. A lot of people are paying for a package they assembled 2 years ago when their situation was different. Channels they don't watch, a speed tier they don't need, an equipment rental that could have been bought. They keep it because switching feels complicated and the bill is on autopay, so it's invisible. Autopay is useful. It's also how unchanged monthly costs stay unchanged for years without notice. A silent price increase on a streaming platform or phone plan gets absorbed into autopay. You approved it when you signed up. They changed the price. The charge just got bigger. You never saw a bill. You never compared. You never pushed back. Extended warranties at checkout are a smaller leak but worth mentioning. On a $300 appliance, the extended warranty might run $40 to $60. Statistically, a large portion of those never get used. The retailer knows this. That's why they offer it. It feels like protection. Often it's margin capture dressed up as peace of mind. Unused cloud storage upgrades follow the same logic. You hit a storage limit 2 years ago, you paid to upgrade. The original problem is gone. The charge remains. Roundup savings programs sound productive, but can mask a cash flow issue underneath. You're rounding up every transaction by 60 cents, $1.10, $2.30. It adds up to $30 in micro savings. Meanwhile, the overdraft fee that hit last Thursday cost $34. The math ran in the wrong direction. It's not that saving is bad, it's that saving while leaking elsewhere is a slow spin cycle. Loyalty program spending is a quieter trap than it looks. You buy an extra item to hit a points threshold. The item costs $8. The points are worth $1.20. That's a $6.80 loss framed as a reward. Happens every week in grocery aisles across the country. Parking apps, tolls paid by convenience service, premium car wash add-ons at the pump. None of these are catastrophic. All of them are slightly more than they need to be, and they repeat. That's the part people underestimate. Not one charge, the same charge, every month, a $6 fee that runs 12 times a year is $72. That's real money for a real nothing. By this point in the list, most people have recognized at least 3 or 4 of their own. That recognition is the first actual step. Not budgeting apps, not disciplined speeches. Recognition. You can't plug a leak you haven't located. That sounds obvious, but it requires actually looking. Not a mental scan. A real one. Bank statement open, card statement open, line by line. Most people haven't done that in the last 6 months. Some haven't done it ever. The statement review isn't about guilt. It's about data. Just look at what actually happened. Most people are surprised, not by one big thing, by how many small things added up quietly. A $9 charge here, a $14 there, a $4.99 that nobody remembers authorizing. It compounds. When you actually total the forgotten subscriptions, the convenience fees, the unused upgrades, in a lot of cases people find $80 to $150 a month they weren't consciously choosing to spend. That's not a personality flaw. That's a system designed to stay invisible until you force it visible. Impulse purchases with free shipping thresholds are another version of this. You needed one $11 item. Shipping was free at $35. So you found $24 more of things to buy. You technically got free shipping. You also spent $24 you didn't plan to. The math didn't help you. Buying in bulk to save money can leak too, depending on what's being bought. Perishables, bought in bulk to save 18% that expire before they're used, didn't save anything. The unit price was better, the total cost was higher. The savings were theoretical. Premium account tiers on apps you use occasionally are a slow leak that feels like a good deal. You use it 6 times a year. The annual plan costs $79. That's $13 per use. If the free tier covers most of what you need, the upgrade is a comfort purchase, not a utility one. Phone insurance plans are worth questioning too, depending on what's actually covered. Some plans charge $15 to $17 a month with a deductible of $100 to $250 to replace the device. If your phone is 2 years old and worth $180, the insurance math has quietly stopped making sense. Interest on buy now, pay later balances catches people off guard because the product feels modern. 0% for 6 months sounds clean. Miss a payment or carry past the promo window. In many cases, a deferred interest clause means the full accumulated interest hits retroactively. What looked like a payment plan quietly became a debt with a penalty structure underneath it. In-app purchases and digital microtransactions are genuinely easy to lose track of. $2.99 here, $4.99 there. A $9.99 content unlock that felt worth it in the moment. These don't show up as a single line item. They scatter across statements in small amounts. Nobody budgets for them. Almost nobody reviews them. They just run. A premium tier on a password manager, a paid weather app, a $3.99 recipe subscription. Each one has a justification. Taken together, they represent a decision that was never really made. You didn't sit down and allocate money to this category. It assembled itself through small yeses. Currency conversion fees when shopping internationally or on foreign-based platforms. Usually 1% to 3% added automatically. Not visible at checkout, just quietly in the charge. Small individually. Real if you shop online from international retailers regularly. Car insurance that hasn't been reviewed in 2 or 3 years is a different kind of leak. Rates change, your situation changes. Loyalty to the same provider doesn't guarantee the best rate. In many cases, people are paying $20 to $40 more per month than comparable coverage would cost. That's $240 to $480 a year, sitting in a policy that hasn't been compared against anything recently. Not guaranteed you'd find better. Worth spending 30 minutes to actually check. Renewal pricing on annual subscriptions is a leak category almost nobody monitors. You paid $79 last year. The renewal came in at $99. You clicked confirm without comparing. The company is counting on that. The price increased 25%. You approved it in 3 seconds. Tipping prompts on self-checkout kiosks and counter service apps are a softer version of this pressure. Not saying don't tip, saying notice when the default is 25% on a $6 drip coffee you poured yourself. The interface is designed to make zero feel awkward. That design has a cost if you don't notice it. All of this adds up to a pattern. Money leaves quietly when no active decision is being made. The solution isn't a rigid budget that tracks every dollar with color-coded categories. Most people don't maintain those past the second week. The friction is too high. What actually works for a lot of people is simpler. A quarterly leak audit. Once every 3 months, open every statement, list every recurring charge. For each one, ask 2 questions. Am I still using this? Is the price still right? That's it. No app required. No spreadsheet necessary. Just 2 questions per line item. The ones you can't answer confidently, those are your leaks. Cancel the ones you're not using, Renegotiate or replace the ones that have crept up in price. It takes about an hour. In many cases, it recovers $50 to $100 a month within the first round. Not because you were reckless, because the system assumes you won't check. You checked. The other practical move is a single card rule for subscriptions if possible. Route all recurring charges to one card. One statement shows everything. Nothing hides across accounts. When that card renews annually, go through every charge before approving the next year of it. That one habit alone closes more leaks than most people expect. The last thing worth saying is this: small leaks feel small because they're small. That feeling is accurate in the moment. It's misleading across 12 months. $8 a month is not a financial crisis. $8 times 15 forgotten charges is $1,440 a year. That's a number worth an hour of your time to go find and stop. The question to sit with after this: if you opened every statement from the last 90 days right now, how many lines would you recognize immediately, and how many would make you pause? The ones that make you pause are exactly where to start.